Well, when he took over Mamelodi Sundowns, many said that he didn't win the title alone, but here he is now. Dominated the African continent, one man at the age of 36. Who am I talking about? Yes, you guessed it, Rhulani Mokwena, a name that will go down in the books of history as one of the best to ever do it. I mean, argue with your peers, but I think he's proved a point now.
He has indeed. We've got to talk about the build-up to the game. We're all talking about Shalule not being there, the goal's not coming. Lucas Ribeiro not being there, the goal's not coming. And I remember I went to a presser before the actual final, and one of the journalists from Morocco was asking a question: is Shalule back? And I was like, no, Shai's still out, injured. He played, like he doesn't know if Shalule is back.
Mind games.
So when the team list was announced and Shalule's name came up, I remember a colleague who was at the stadium sent me a message, says, hey, everybody's saying Shalule is back. And you saw the impact of Shalule in a team of that magnitude. Sundowns wanted to play at 3 p.m. Without wanted an evening game. And it proved exactly why they wanted an evening game.
Of course.
Because 3 p.m. in the
hot.
afternoon, hot one, Sundowns had pressing traps galore in that game.
Yes.
It was unbelievable. They didn't allow Wida to play. They were suffocated by the altitude, number one, suffocated by the crowd, number two, suffocated by the sun, number three, suffocated by Sundowns on the field of play.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of them trying everything possible. That is why Latimi was unable to show up. Because they just really made life difficult. Bofiane could actually come up. Jabran was unable to, Jabran was even sitting on the bench. He didn't even start for this game, The player that scored Serrat got to start this time around to see what he can do. But Sundowns played so well. Masego eventually walking away with the ultimate prize for being the best player, top scorer as well. But he did not even make the cut for the starting 11 this week. Shalule actually came in for him, You saw also a change in the back, Mvala coming into the starting 11 again for Sundowns. We also saw Rivaldo Cossio scored her own goal, not making a cut today on the game also, and being replaced as well at the back. But over and above that, it was a Sundowns dominance. They played very well, deserved winners of the competition overall.
We're talking about a team, Mamelodi Sundowns, a team that has young players within it. You look at the likes of your Aubrey Mudiba, who scored the goal. You look at the likes of your Teboho Mokwena. These are players that are still really young. So this is still a developing team. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say developing, but they still have time together to get better than what they are.
From an age point of view, yes, you can say that. But from an experience point of view, I think they've done it all. And I think Sundowns' performance on the continent is a huge advantage for Bafana. Because those players are now going into the Bafana camp. They're including Yotemba Zwane, who for me I was very happy to see him as a captain hoisting the trophy because he's been such a loyal servant to Sundowns.
He is the only player part of that squad who lifted the 2016 title when Frompo Gekana was captain at the time when they lifted the CAF Champions League underneath Pitso Mosimane.
Dennis Onyango was there as well.
Dennis Onyango was also there. But let me know, players who played. Let me know this. Do you believe that Themba Zwane will go down as one of the best players of our generation?
No doubt. You know when you have certain legends South African football, legend on the continent, pinpoint you as a very good player, you know that you're a very good player. And also, I have sat down and actually had Coach Ruddy speak about it. He tells you there are two things that Themba does in his life. His family, his football. He's committed. And you can see on the field of play that he's aging gracefully, but his performance on the field of play, the leadership he has. Look at the goal they scored, the first goal. The ball was played wide, got back to him, he just set up Shalule beautifully so. The pressing trap they had also when Aubrey Mudiba eventually got the goal as well. Was the same situation where we just don't know how to track him. He's so impossible to track on a field of play because he'll surface on the left-hand side, the central part where he can go wide on the right-hand side. He can shoot with both feet if you give him a chance to do so. He can score goals when you need one, when you need him to do so. That is why he's among the top three.
He can drop and defend as well.
That's why he's among the top three in the Sundowns top scoring charts of all time. Shalule has actually got into that list as well. But when you talk about his importance, his influence. At some stage, Hugo Bross did not bring him into the Bafana squad. When he brought him back, he did say, I know this is a special player. Because Hugo has coached top players around the world.
Of course.
When he sits down and says, this guy is a special player, you need to realize how special a player is I remember when he was part of the team that played for Paul Dolezal, when I was sent on loan by Sundowns, it was him and Kalinge who went on a loan stint at no, not Paul Dolezal, but it was Steve Barker, Clive Barker. My age is taking away. Clive Barker. Clive Barker was the man in charge of the team on Mpumalanga Black Aces. When they got him back, he said, I've lost a big player.
Yeah.
Because at that stage, he was not playing at Sundowns. They just sent him on a loan stint. And he came back and said, I've lost a big player, and I'm not sure if this team can survive without him. Well, behold, they did not survive without him.
But just before we wrap up this conversation, I wish we had more time. Those are the powerhouses on the African continent, all 8 teams that made the cut, right?
Yeah.
Technically, is Mamelodi Sundowns the best team that was there? Yes, they've lifted the title, but do you believe the style of football that Mamelodi Sundowns played, out of all 8 teams that were there, Mamelodi Sundowns was the best?
Records will tell you.
Don't look past though, Brian.
I'm talking about records in this tournament.
Okay.
They didn't concede in the first 2 matches.
Got you.
They didn't concede both matches against Al Ahly, were lost against Wydad away, managed to get and turn things around in South Africa against Wydad, so that they're the best out of the 8 that we had. But what will be telling, and what will be very important for Sundowns, is the CAF Champions League. Can they be able to take the same performance into the Champions League itself and prove once again and over and above that they're the best on the continent?
Okay, so as I close it off.
Yeah.
Yes, they've won the AFL.
Yes.
Got it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
If they don't win the Champions League, would this season for Mamelodi Sundowns be a failure?
No, it will be a good season, but you always remember the champions of the Champions League, never the champion of the AFL.
Okay. Well, that's the question that I have for you. Should Mamelodi Sundowns win the CAF Champions League, that will be a season tick in the box, right? But should they not, does this still make them the best, or would it be a failure of a season? Well, welcome back. You're still watching Fut Afrique, the only show that allows you to travel and discover the African continent through its football. Kinako Ella, where we're going to talk about Banyana Vastal, the invincible Mamelodi Sundowns, as they find themselves well on their way of securing their second CAF Women's Champions League title. It's only a matter of time. That hurdle, Sporting Casablanca will be looking to cause major upsets. But a lot of upsets took place in this competition, Jess. A lot of surprises, but here we are, the last 2 out of the 8.
Whew. Big congratulations to Mamelodi Sundowns. You and Dr. Brian Mofokeng were talking about the AFL. The performance in the boys was done on the right, has to be done on the left. Ooh. So amazing how Mamelodi Sundowns ladies are reciprocating what the men's team is doing. But an inclusion of a debutante heading to the final, super exciting. I just want to give flowers to Ampem though, because I've been preaching about them. I spoke about them from the right beginning. And looking at the match between Casablanca and Ampem, I believe they walked away with the win. not
went
by
into
score.
penalties.
It went into penalties, and I think that game got very intense in the 90th minute. And I think going into the game, 6th minute, Comfort found the back of the net. Yeah. I think that put them in a perfect position to basically get the second goal. Unfortunately, Comfort again with an own goal then set the team in on an equalizer. I think that's when the game started to get interesting because both these teams are really pushing to make sure that they go to the final. Yeah. Casablanca wants to make it for the Moroccan side to make it to the final. Ampem wants to make it, for the first time. And remembering what the president has said to them before they came into the competition. Chele. But I think the action really started getting intense right at the 90th minute, and we saw it led us to extra time all the way to penalties, which we saw Casablanca advancing. But I believe that Ampem, looking at their performance, the resilience, the passion that they had, they really carried so much weight and they should be super, super proud of themselves.
Well, Shirley, it's time for Morocco. It's time for South Africa when it comes to the African continent because that's where the Mecca of football lovers do reside. I mean, on the men's side, we saw a Moroccan team up against a South African team. And here we are again in the CAF Women's Champions League. We're seeing the same being mirrored. Just one thing that I want to know, though, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But you spoke to the Mamelodi Sundowns ladies who have played in this competition before. And one thing that Lelona said to you is that the fact that they had lost to AS FAR before, that in itself was motivation.
And when Lona said that, Rhoda then said, this time around, we are hoping to win against them fair and square. Yeah. There's so many talks about, match officiating and how everything was unfair in the last sector. So they're really pushing to make sure that this time they were fair and square, and they absolutely did. It was an intense match, though, between the two sides because both of them have been part of this tournament for 3 times. And no one wants to get eliminated in the semi-finals, at least advance to the final. So close. And both of them having won it before, they want to win it again. Yeah. But I think they gave each other a tough time. Every single player that was there was giving all their best. Looking at Mamelodi Sundowns, I think we had a very strong backline with Nhlapo there. And I just want to say Makurubecha is really feeling in those shoes because we can see the exclusion of Ubamba Nani, who's not there. However, she's doing an exceptional job. In the last game, Mamelodi Sundowns, we saw how the right side was so congested. But this time around, we saw the left side was so congested with Murifi being there. However, Fatima was giving them a run.
They had to make sure they eliminate her.
Notice how the game changed after Fatima came off. Yeah. Because now there was a little bit of room, now there was a little bit of a way for them to penetrate, the third area. And I think it gave Murifi also time, an opportunity because she's a pacey player.
Yeah.
And however, I think she just needs to find a way of how she's not caught all the time on an offside. Because I feel like she outruns everybody.
A bit too fast.
You know what I'm saying?
Time her runs.
Exactly. She must time her runs. And I think with that change, she could definitely do the most. And we can see a little bit of more goals. Because we're probably hoping for 3-0. And we haven't seen those kind of games. And Ukolosa as well did the best that she could do in the middle.
Very physical player.
Very physical player. And I think when the game starts getting intense, you want to introduce players like Abo Uradile, who can stabilize the game, they can control the pace. Because once everybody's just all over the place, it gets a little bit, intense for everybody. But I think Kolosa did a brilliant job in the middle. And I just think that the girls, I don't know, again, still, there at the front, that wall was so strong. And going into the final, we just need to find out what we can do in the final third.
When you have a player like Kolosa, and I hate to say this, don't take it in the wrong way, where yellow cards is something that is part of her identity. Someone who's so physical like that. As a coach or as someone who consumes the game, is that the type of player that you want to start with, or you'd rather bring her in as a sub? Because she's bound to be hella physical there in the midfield.
It's so funny how you speak about Kolosa and the yellow card. When I saw it, I was like, not again.
Me, But
I think, look, man, you start strong. It depends on what the style of play the team has. But I think you start strong, you utilize that kind of player because they do have advantages. When you have a physical player like that, they do have their own advantages. So I think you start with them, and then if you see that it gets a bit tricky, then you can, sub them off so that they don't get another foul.
Alrighty. Before tomorrow, 24 hours. I know, Mara, just realistically. Give me a score, actually, because I know you're going to be in favor of Mamelodi Sundowns, but just give me a score as to how will it be? How easy will Sporting Casablanca make it for Mamelodi Sundowns, or just how difficult will it be?
It's going to be difficult. That goalkeeper, she's won player of the match twice in this tournament.
Yebo.
It's going to be very difficult with that goalkeeper, and they're going to be playing a very defensive game. However, we've won the match against them, 1-0. I'm just hoping that Mamelodi Sundowns walks away with the win, 2-1.
2-1. Okay, Jess says 2-1. And if anything, she had her money on Ampum, right? And Ampum really showed up and showed off. So if this is her time to bet, I think she has to do it now. But the big question is, who do you think will walk away victorious in the third edition of the CAF Women's Champions League?